Welcome back. You're watching a Newslink, and Growwise Capital is a business funder focused on stimulating growth in the SMME sector right here in South Africa. With offices in Johannesburg and Cape Town, Growwise is growing and believes in partnering with other business owners to help them scale their businesses quickly and successfully. We're joined by one of the co-founders now, Maximillian or Maxi Cohen, whatever you prefer. Good. Thank you for joining us this morning. Maybe tell us a little bit about Growwise Capital and why it was important for you and your co-founders, if you'll name them as well, please, to establish the business.
Sure. So we started Growwise about 3 years ago with my brother Sebastian and a high school friend Jonty. We saw that there was a need to provide assistance to a very underserviced market, the SME market in South Africa, with funding and alternative funding solutions. So we started Growwise with that in mind. Growing employment in the country is a big thing, and we found that by assisting these SMEs, we'd also assist in growing the economy, growing employment, and overall growing South Africa. Yeah,
no, absolutely. But how were you able to create a model that is giving the funding that an SMME would need, a sustainable model? What did you guys take into consideration, and what did you put forward as this is how we're going to run this business?
Definitely. So we realized that SMEs are not the same as big businesses and can't be looked at in the same way. We moved away from the banking way of looking at things, and we kind of look at the transactional data of a business and hundreds of other data points that are able to show us if a business is good for funding in a very, very short amount of time. So we're able to fund a business, within 2 hours if we get everything in, and we're able to look at a few data points that will give us all we need to know about a business to offer them funding.
Apart from those data points, the criteria, I suppose, when we talk about the data points, what is it that you are looking to see that allows you to give that necessary funding to an SMME?
Yeah, so we have minimum criteria, 35,000 Rand a month turnover, 6 months in business with a registered business. But we really try to understand each business as it is. Each business is different. We understand that all businesses are different. And we look at different data points depending on the type of business, the time in business, and we understand that every SME is different, and we always look at a range of different things. Every business is unique, and we treat them uniquely.
Yeah, I mean, why is it so difficult in a general sense, Maxi, for businesses, especially small to medium businesses, because you are saying that they are the ones that are growing the economy. Why do you think it's so difficult in general to access funding?
Well, it's always been relatively hard to get money from the bank. Now coming out of COVID, it's become a lot harder. They've really tightened their screws.
Which is weird, because it should be a little bit more easier, right?
Yeah, exactly. But this is where we are. And that's why there's a need for alternative funding at the moment, to offer these companies that won't be looked at by the bank the opportunity to access funding and to give them the opportunity to grow. For all we know, we're funding the next unicorn of South African business.
You never know. Where did you guys get your funding?
Interesting question. So we have a range of, equity, debt kind of structures in place that allow us to open the taps and really fund as many businesses as possible. When we started initially, we were self-funded by myself and my partners. And then we were able to get, good debt equity deal and access as many entrepreneurs as possible, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and how many entrepreneurs have you been able to assist in this regard?
We've seen thousands and thousands of applications, and we funded thousands of entrepreneurs over the last 3 years. Specifically over the last year and a half, we've hit a huge growth trajectory, and we've been very lucky to access, and be able to fund many, many, many SMEs.
Right. Tell us about the growth of your business in particular. I mentioned in my intro that you guys have offices both in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. The employment that you've been able to create and really just the penetration of the business in the South African market space.
Yeah, so we started with 4 guys, 3 founders and 1 part-time business development funding specialist with a phone on the table and 5 computers sitting around, And, over the last year and a half, 2 offices, almost 40 staff, we've been able to, as true to our mission, create jobs, grow the economy, both internally and externally. And the more people we have, the more SMEs we're able to touch and help. And that's really how we're doing it in our approach to funding at the moment.
Surely it was challenging. I mean, you make it sound like it was an easy ride, the last 3 years or so, but surely there were some pain points that you guys needed to work through.
Every business is challenging, and starting a business is definitely challenging. Pepper in some COVID to that, it's really not easy. But we were very lucky. We had, we were very lucky, and we were able to navigate the waters of starting a business, going through COVID, working with our clients, as we moved through COVID to get everything together and get it working. And yeah, we've honed in on a great underwriting model that's able to offer funding very, very quickly. And our service it's really incredible, and that's really where we focus. A lot of our energy is offering our clients great customer service. It makes them feel a lot more comfortable in the space of alternative funding that not really everyone knows about. And it allows us to really understand what their needs are, understand how we can best offer funding to them. And it's been really the catalyst of growth in our business, I would say, the service that we offer.
Yeah, that service that you offer, surely there are some businesses that you have funded who are struggling financially at some point.
Sure.
How do you then navigate your relationship, the client and yourselves as a provider, that relationship when a business that you have funded has hit incredibly difficult times, but would like to retain the relationship? How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, obviously it's something we never want to see, and it's not a great thing to see when a business isn't going in a positive direction, because that's what we want. But our thing has always been we prefer to work with our clients. And if our clients work with us, we're always in a good place. We're happy to work with them. We're happy to make a plan for them to be comfortable and to actually get out of this rut or negative situation they're in. And that's always been our standpoint. Work with your clients, make sure they're happy, and you'll have a good outcome.
Right. What about the growth prospects for you guys as Growwise? You are funding SMMEs in South Africa at the moment. Are there any ambitions to go beyond South African borders and look for really good businesses that need funding on the rest of the African continent potentially?
Yeah, so I feel that there's still a lot of work to be done in South Africa. We still have a lot more SMEs to touch and to work with, and we're really ambitious, and that's really our goal, to be able to work with as many SMEs as possible in South Africa. Thereafter, we definitely do want to go to Africa. We've identified certain key countries where we think our services would be really well received.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely on the cards. It's something that we're looking at, and it's something we're very excited about over the next couple of years.
Yeah. Are there specific sectors that you guys look at as Growwise, or are you just kind of going for every single SMME in the country?
Yeah, obviously we realize we can't help every single SME in the country. We focus more on those retail kind of clients, but we're here to help as many people as possible. I always say, if you don't think we can help you, let's have a conversation and see if there's something, and there probably is. We're happy to work with the coffee shop, to the 24-hour on-the-call plumbing company, to the wholesaler. We're really happy to work with most companies. It all comes down to when we actually see an application, are we able to assist or not?
Right. And then I have to ask you about the sectors that you are seeing more SMMEs are being developed in, just based on the applications that you get. Is it still a lot of retail, or are you seeing a growth in tech startups that need funding and the like?
We're seeing a lot of startups coming through, which is great.
Yes.
A lot of businesses being started, a lot of SMEs that have decided, it's time to start a business. And we see a range. I wouldn't hone in on any specific type of industry. We're seeing them all, which I think is a very positive thing. We're dealing in tech, we're dealing in retail, we're dealing in wholesale. We're helping all kinds of businesses, and I wouldn't say there's any specific type of sector that we want to focus on, because that would, we'd be cutting ourselves off from a range of other companies that we wouldn't be able to touch.
Thank you so much, Maxi. But before I let you go, I always ask the guys I speak to on this segment about an important piece of advice that you would give to another entrepreneur who's watching you right now thinking, maybe I should go into the alternative funding space for SMMEs. What would you say to them is the best way to do that, and the advice when venturing into the space?
I would say for any person that's looking to start a business, don't give up, keep pushing. It is sometimes hard, but the fruits are always great. If you're going to start a business, take the time, understand your product, understand your clientele, and give them the best possible service you can give. That would be my piece to them.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Maxi. He's entrepreneur Maximillian Cohen, who's a co-founder of Growwise Capital, alternative funding packages for small, medium businesses in South Africa. And